Good morning. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Rush, the morning empowerment call for heart-centered entrepreneurs out to make change in the world. And if you're here, you're part of the change. You, just how you are. Thank you for being here. This morning rush would not be the same without you. Special shout out to our new morning rushers. Those of you who may be joining for the first time or your first week, we're so happy to have you here. And today we are talking about embracing failure. Dun, dun, dun.
Oh, I think Ben got frozen.
These are moments in your business when you have failed and you've embraced it and maybe even learned from it.
And I think you're getting frozen a little bit.
Okay, were you able to hear me?
Yeah, you said you were talking about how embracing failure. I mean, what I'm gathering is that you were saying it's wonderful and beautiful. You kind of cut out there a little bit, but
Oh, I
continue.
was actually calling on you to see if you have a
Ah,
time in your business when you might have failed and learned something from it.
yes, I have a lot of times that I failed in
Can you give
my
us one?
20 something years. Yes. So I actually just recently, last year, um, had a failure where I was growing too fast. I was bringing on, I think, too many employees at one time without really making sure everything was solid. And it kind of crumbled. It was with a bookkeeping business I was starting. And there was a lot of things that I learned from that process. And it really helps you when I think when you have a failure, whether it's in business or in your personal life or anything that you're doing, when you can step back and say, oh, okay, I see where I could have done better. It really allows you to look at what you're starting and what you're doing next. So for me now, as I start any new business, now I'm like, okay, there's things that there's things that I could have done better and I will do better the next time. So yes.
What's one specific thing you learned?
To slow down, to I'm one of those people that I fire and then I get ready. So fire, ready, aim. So it's to slow down and to listen more to the people that I've hired to be around. So
Great,
be patient.
great. Yeah, those are great. Um, the main thing that stood out for me this morning when I was thinking about it is, and if I cut out, just raise your hand, Chris. Um, uh, Senior year of high school, I had been on the soccer team. I was 18. I'd played for 14 years of my life straight. And the soccer team, I may have shared this here before, but the soccer team, I decided I'd gotten into NYU for acting. So I quit the soccer team and I did the high school musical. I thought that's what there is to do. If I'm going to be in theater, I need to go do it. And I was actually up for the lead role. I got all the way to the final callback. And this kid who had been the lead in all the musicals, and we'd gotten right there. And the music director, she was like, "You're a shoo, and you're obviously going to get this part." Well, not only did I not get the part, I didn't get any lead role. I got put in the chorus, and I quit the soccer team, and the soccer team won state that year. Now, it was very painful for me. I cried. I remember running the stadium stairs to deal with the anger. I felt like I'd been totally duped by the musical director. And yet, the greatest lesson I got from that is it's not always about you. It's not always about me. I could be the most talented guy in the room, doesn't mean I'm going to get the role. And I was able to carry that lesson and embrace failure in my acting career going forward to become an award-winning actor. I booked one of the largest grossing commercial campaigns in the world to history doing Dell. And then when that ended, I even got them to hire me back 20 years later. It was because I didn't give up. And I learned that, 90% of my job is receiving a no, but that just leads me closer to the yes. And The founder of Spanx, her name was Blake. I'm trying to remember her last name. Sarah Blakely.
There-
Sarah Blakely, she was turned down hundreds of times. Everyone said her idea was terrible. It wasn't going to go anywhere. And then she became, a billion-dollar owner of a company. Same thing with Thomas Edison. Said the 10,000 times he didn't make the light bulb taught him how to make it that one time. And even Colonel Sanders didn't even get successful until his 60s. He wasn't able to successfully franchise until his 60s, but he did. So if we can take what we learned from those failures or the things about embracing it that can actually make us stronger, show our resilient points. But most importantly, failure is one of the most important parts of learning. As Peter Swain here said last week, children don't learn to walk just by like waking up and sprinting, right? They absolutely have to fail as part of the growing and learning process. One more thing I'll give you is baby turtles, when they're hatched, have from the time they're hatched to the ocean to get all the strength they need to swim for the next 10 years and to remember where they were hatched so they can come back and lay those eggs in the exact same position 10 years later. And in order to do that, they have to do push-ups along the way. They stop and they do push-ups and they get stronger as they're going to the ocean. If they don't get eaten on the way, granted, right? There's a lot of variables to do that, and they're getting stronger. But every time they get washed up by the shore and pushed back up, they actually realize, oh, I've got to go back and do some more work. I have to keep doing push-ups. And then by the time they get there to the water, they are so strong they can swim for 10 years and come back to that same spot to grow their family. So think about those things that you've put in. Just like for me, Dell told me no for 20 years. And now if you go in their social media campaign and say, what happened to Dell Dude 20 years later, you'll see we did, again, one of the largest grossing Instagram commercial campaigns. And it's about not giving up. Coach Money, Chris, I want to have you take us into our breakout rooms, give the prompts, and yeah, I'll just let you take it from here. And if there's any other moments in your life, or if anyone has anything right now,
Yeah.
I see AM Noel. Maybe you want to share a time where you embraced failure in your life and what you learned briefly.
Well, I've got a PhD in failing. I've got a PhD in screwing up. And one thing I know, failure is the mother of success. So you really got to let that sink in, because without a mother, none of us would be in this world. And if you want to be successful, failure is the mother of success. Thank you. Is that brief enough for you?
Perfect. Yes, perfect. So as we go into breakout rooms, I want you to think about anything in your life that you might have failed at, whether it's business related or not business related. But what is a time that you failed at? And going back to like, there's so many people that are super successful in life right now. Ben mentioned Thomas Edison, Sarah Blakely, the guy that made KFC. And then I don't know if a lot of you heard the new fun book out, Worthy by Jamie Lynn Kerma. I got to meet her. She was told by so many cosmetic companies that her product wouldn't work and she can't sell it because of her looks. And now she's super successful and her looks didn't matter. So I just want to point that out there. So in the breakout rooms, what have you failed at? And what did you learn from that failure? So really think about that, whether it's a business item or something personal. Let's explore that and then come back and share.
And what's one valuable lesson you learned from that
Valuable
failure
lesson.
too?
Yes, that's the key word. Valuable lesson.
So Rand put this prompt in the chat, so you can pull that up in case you forget before you go in. And just to make sure we're all alive, unless we're driving, put your hands in there, hands together, and teleport to your breakout rooms.